in on. This is one of those stories, the quiet kind that sneaks up on you, lingers, and then suddenly makes you rethink how strength really looks. Imagine being loved by millions, admired for your beauty, respected for your talent, and still having your heart break in a way the whole world can see. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the version of you everyone knows is no longer the version you can survive as. That was the crossroads Song Hye-kyo found herself standing at. Not as a fictional character, not behind a script, but as a woman who had to choose between disappearing quietly or reinventing herself completely. And today, let's talk about how she chose reinvention. From the outside, Song Hye-kyo always seemed untouchable. She entered the Korean entertainment industry young, rose quickly, and stayed there with an elegance that felt effortless. While trends came and went, she remained. While actresses reinvented themselves every few years to stay relevant, she didn't have to. Her face alone carried nostalgia, trust, and prestige. She was the girl next door, the first love, the woman audiences rooted for without realizing why. But behind the flawless image was a woman living under intense expectations. Be graceful, be kind, be private, be perfect. And when she married Song Joong-ki, her co-star, her real-life romance straight out of a drama, the world celebrated as if it were a national victory. Fans believed in fairy tales again. Love, it seemed, had won. Then, just as quickly, the fairy tale ended. The divorce wasn't just news. It was noise, endless speculation, blame, analysis, whispers, accusations. And through it all, Song Hye-kyo said almost nothing. No dramatic interviews, no emotional social media posts, no attempts to control the narrative. She chose silence, and that silence confused people. Some mistook it for weakness, others called it cold. But what if it was neither? What if it was survival? Heartbreak changes people, but public heartbreak reshapes them. Every outfit she wore was analyzed, every smile was questioned. Was she sad enough? Was she moving on too fast? Was she pretending? In an industry where women are often punished for aging, for choosing privacy, for not explaining themselves, Song Hye-kyo faced a cruel paradox. She owed the public everything and nothing at the same time. And this is where her reinvention truly began, not with a press statement, but with a decision. Instead of rushing back into safe, romantic roles that reminded people of who she used to be, she stepped back. She let the dust settle. She disappeared just enough for people to miss her, but not long enough to be forgotten. And when she returned, she didn't come back as the woman audiences expected. She came back sharper. There was a noticeable shift in her energy. Her gaze felt different, her posture stronger. The softness was still there, but it was layered with something heavier: experience, pain, control. Song Hye-kyo stopped trying to be universally likable and started being intentional. And if you've ever gone through heartbreak yourself, you'll recognize this phase immediately. That moment when you realize healing doesn't mean becoming who you were before, it means becoming someone new. Her fashion changed first, quietly. Cleaner lines, bolder silhouettes, less romantic heroine, more woman who knows herself. Her public appearances were minimal, but powerful. She didn't over-explain, she didn't perform happiness. She let people project what they wanted while she focused on recalibrating her own life. Then came the roles. When Song Hye-kyo chose to star in darker, emotionally complex projects, it wasn't accidental. These characters weren't there to be saved. They didn't rely on love to give them meaning. They carried scars, anger, depth. Watching her on screen, you could feel that something had shifted, not just in her acting, but in her presence. She wasn't asking the audience to sympathize with her. She was asking them to listen. Her performance felt lived in, not polished. And viewers responded. People who once dismissed her as just pretty began to reassess. Critics who underestimated her range started paying attention. Younger audiences, who didn't grow up watching her early dramas, discovered her through this newer, more intense version. Reinvention doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like choosing the harder path when the easier one is still available. But let's pause here and ask you something. Have you ever noticed how society reacts when a woman reinvents herself after heartbreak? If she glows up, people say she's showing off. If she becomes quieter, they say she's broken. If she focuses on her career, she's cold. Song Hye-kyo walked straight into this contradiction and refused to explain herself. Instead of using heartbreak as a storyline, she turned it into fuel. Behind the scenes, those close to her described a woman who became more grounded, more selective, and more protective of her peace. She stopped chasing external validation and started curating her world carefully. Projects, friendships, collaborations. Reinvention isn't about proving people wrong, it's about proving yourself right. And perhaps the most powerful part of her transformation was how ordinary it was. She didn't rush into a new public relationship to silence rumors. She didn't post cryptic quotes. She didn't rebrand herself with dramatic declarations. She lived, she worked, she healed. And in doing so, she offered something rare in celebrity culture, an example of quiet resilience. When audiences watched her later performances, many didn't just see an actress. They saw a woman who had been broken and chose to rebuild herself piece by piece. That authenticity can't be faked. It's something you earn through experience. Let's talk about the pressure for a moment. In the Korean entertainment industry, marriage is often framed as a final chapter for actresses. Divorce, unfortunately, can feel like a career risk. Roles dry up, public perception shifts, sympathy is conditional. Song Hye-kyo could have been reduced to a headline forever, but she didn't let that happen. By choosing depth over safety, she expanded how leading women are perceived. She proved that heartbreak doesn't disqualify you from success. It can redefine it. And here's another question for you. Do you think her performances became stronger because of the heartbreak or because she finally gave herself permission to change? Sometimes pain doesn't give us talent, it gives us honesty. And honesty, especially on screen, is magnetic. Her reinvention wasn't about erasing the past. She never denied the love she once had. She never spoke bitterly. She allowed that chapter to exist without letting it define her future. That takes a level of maturity most people don't talk about. In interviews after her return, she spoke less about romance and more about self growth, about understanding herself better, about valuing time, about choosing roles that challenge her rather than comfort her. These weren't dramatic confessions, they were quiet truths, the kind that only make sense once you've lost something important. And maybe that's why so many viewers connected with her all over again, because heartbreak is universal. Not everyone marries a celebrity. Not everyone divorces under a global spotlight. But almost everyone knows what it feels like to lose something they believed in, to wake up and realize life didn't go according to the script. Song Hye-kyo's reinvention spoke to that shared experience. She didn't reinvent herself to be stronger than the pain. She reinvented herself to live with it. So let me ask you, if you were in her place, what would you have done differently? Would you have spoken out, defended yourself, tried to explain? Or would you, like her, have chosen silence and transformation over noise? Today, Song Hye-kyo stands not just as a top actress, but as a symbol of evolution. She reminds us that reinvention doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with boundaries, with patience, with the courage to disappoint expectations so you can honor yourself. And maybe that's the real glow up. If this story resonates with you, if you've ever had to rebuild yourself after heartbreak, drop a comment below and tell us, what did reinvention look like for you? Was it loud or quiet, messy or graceful? Let's talk about it. Because here at Buzz and Tea, we believe the most powerful stories aren't just about celebrities. They're about the parts of ourselves we recognize in them.